Hi. So I've got a question regarding the God plan, and others have heard me talk about the God plan. And it's a phrase my husband and I came up with when we were asked by our new head of sales, what is your marketing plan and what have you been doing, what have you been charting since his business has grown significantly since I've been using these techniques with him. And we came up with the phrase, it's really the God plan versus a marketing plan. And I wanted to share that with you. And I'm going to probably do a few of these over time, as there's a lot of information that's kind of in this program that's I use with my private clients. But I wanted to just at least share with you kind of the high level of the God plan. And it's really an internal process. It's a process where we live as God is really our senior partner in our businesses. And we refer to God, we pray to God, we, take it to decisions that we have to God. And I've used it in my career, my corporate career, as well as in my business. And it's really about that inner process of searching for and listening for that answer. And it's, learning to hear the still small voice. And what does that mean? Sometimes it's actually a voice for me, because I've worked on this for years and learning to hear and have a dialogue. Not everybody can do that. And I completely understand. And you don't have to be able to do this, because my husband doesn't have that. But what we do is we do get these small unctions, these things that are inside of us that tell us, pick up the phone and call somebody. Or I think I shared in another video about my dear, dear friend who had just lost her job. And we walk through some of the processes that I share here on receiving God's paycheck. And she was driving and she had her resume, and it said, stop for her, it was into the church, and drop off her resume. And they had just decided on opening a position. They hadn't posted it anywhere, and here she was, and she was overqualified for it, but the perfect person for it. And so it's that knowing. I've used it in my corporate career where, I've gone home and something inside of me was like, no, go back and finish this project, and it needed at the time. Or I promoted people that way. I have a funny story of promoting someone who had been on maternity leave, and she'd been gone for several months, and we were in the promotions process, and she was one of my best people, and she reported to one of the managers who reported to me. And I was getting dressed in the morning, and I heard inside of me, get her paperwork ready. And so I went to her manager that morning. I said, look, I need her paperwork by 2 p.m. today. And I had to turn it into my boss by 5 p.m. So I had to, I told him that, and I kept bugging him throughout the day, and he's like, I'll get to it. I don't know what what are you worried about? And I'm like, look, give me that paperwork. So he gets it to me. I turn it into my boss that evening. And the next morning, I got this scathing email from this woman. And she'd been gone for a couple of months, so we hadn't heard from her since she had her baby. And I got this scathing email. I have worked hard. I don't care if I'm on maternity leave, but I have earned a promotion, and I don't understand why I haven't been considered. How great do you think it was that I said to her, I wrote back and said, as of 5:07 p.m. yesterday, your package was submitted. So please stand by, and we will be happy to promote you. You have done an amazing job, and thank you. And her boss turned and looked at me, and he said, because he knew that at the time I was getting my master's in spiritual psychology from the University of Santa Monica, he turned around and looked at me and goes, you freak. And so I just laughed. But that is because I paid attention. If I hadn't paid, and there are many times when I don't always, get it right. But that is something that when you learn to listen, That's part of the God plan. It's following through, and it's courage, it's trust, it's testing and learning how to pay attention to those things that say, do this. Now, you have to balance that always with, is it good, right, moral? Is it something that is uplifting? Is it for the good of all concerned? So you want to not just, you want to check in, because I learned, and I talk about in Journey to Abundance, or the newest version is Increase Your Abundance Starting Today, is this feeling inside that can either be ease and grace and flow and the right flow of things, or it's that anxious, or angst and painful and stressful voice. And we have both of those inside of us, and we have to learn which one that is the right one for us. So the God plan is really, listening and paying attention and acting and being courageous and taking that leap of faith sometime and trusting God as our senior partner. So it's all of that, and paying attention to the little details. And so for as a business owner, it can be about, who do I call? Who do I email? Following up as somebody's voice or name keeps coming up time and time again, check on them. That goes for both corporate life, business owners, and from corporate, those of you who have jobs, it's, are you notice the same position opening up over and over again? Where, you hear inside of you to wear a suit that day. And I talk about that. It's like I would, when I asked those questions about should I wear a suit, and it said yes, or, what should I wear? And suit popped in, and I worked in a business casual environment. And I'd sometimes question it and not do it, and I'd invariably get called into a meeting, or I'd pay attention, wear a suit, and invariably get called into a meeting. How much more powerful do you think when I was prepared for that, when I felt good about how I looked? And it wasn't necessarily like a suit, but it might just be a blazer and slacks or whatever. But it gave me so much more energy and excitement and power internally to look good and to feel good. So that's kind of the high-level intro to the God plan, and let me know what you think of this, and if you have questions about it. Like I said, I may do a few more as it comes up to go into deeper, but I just wanted to at least give you the high level of that. So thanks.